Welcome, my Phoenix family, to One Footed Phoenix. So, I know it's been a little bit of time since I have done a video where I actually had my voice in a voiceover, and the reason for that is because I've been sick for like way too long. So, I have categories that are my ears are burning, don't ever say that, and I have yeah, that's bad. And then we have not helpful, but not terrible. And then appropriate and appreciated. So as we get into this, let's see. The first one is when someone comes up and just asks me what happened to my leg. It's a little awkward, especially if I don't know you very well. And you're just like, hey, tell me like all of your like deepest, darkest like medical history, basically. So the next one is, have you tried essential oils or some other like random uh herbal melody, I suppose. Sorry, remedy, not melody. But with this one, it's just like, well, don't you think that's like the first thing I would have tried, especially if this pain is like basically not curable? At least in my situation, with complex regional pain syndrome, like people would always suggest like the most random things to me, but I would be like, I've already tried that. Even though it sounds really like random and kind of obscure and out there, like I'd already tried it because I was just like so desperate to find something that would attack the CRPS. And unfortunately, the CRPS just got worse and worse, and I turned to amputation of my leg because that was the best option available. So the next one is, I wouldn't be able to do what you do and be happy about it. So, like, this is fair because I feel like a lot of people aren't really sure how they would handle being an amputee. So, like, I give them credit for that, but at the same time, like, it's not all that helpful in regards to like acknowledging that amputation can be a really hard journey mentally. So, that's kind of why I put it in this in between category. So the next one is, what kind of activities would you struggle with at a party? So this one is good, and I put it in the appropriate and appreciated category because, like, thinking about this and having somebody ask me, like, what I would actually have a hard time with, and then, like, wanting to invite me to something is actually, like, really good. So I think, like, when in doubt, it's totally okay to ask questions, especially if you're asking about like what would make something more accessible for me. So the next one is, why do you still go to church if God let that happen? So again, this is kind of more specific to like my story, but um like people will ask me like, why do you go to church if like God let you become an amputee, or let you like have that accident where you were hit by the car? And I don't know, it gets under my skin. It bugs me because I guess they just assume that like, oh yeah, God totally like just made that happen to you. And the truth is that like he allowed it to happen. And I also, I don't know, I just think like questioning people's faith is rude. But if people ask me like why I stay at church, like I think that's a little bit more of a different question than like, why would you still go to church? And it depends on like how they're asking it. So the next one is, why aren't you wearing your prosthetic? Okay, this one bugs me because like I would just don't understand that there are different levels of capabilities out there between amputees, and they see like, oh yeah, if there's amputees like at the Paralympics, they could just like run a whole marathon and like do all this amazing stuff. And then there's me where I can barely even like wear a prosthetic for more than like 2 hours. And that's because of the unique situation that I'm in with the chronic pain I had before my amputation. But at the same time, it's just like, yeah, like just quit asking me where my prosthetic is. It's like you're saying that my wheelchair's bad. So the next one is, do you have phantom pain? And this one is actually like a really good question. And I do appreciate this because I think it shows that people are willing to learn about it rather than just being judgy. So the next one is I wouldn't want to live if I was an amputee. So yeah, this one is definitely where it's like a major problem because a lot of amputees do struggle with their mental health and with, like trying to get to a good place with their head space. So yeah, just like never say that you wouldn't want to live if you were an amputee or that like you would basically want to commit suicide. Like that's not okay. Don't say that to people. And like if you are an amputee and people have said that to you, I'm sorry. Like, but like you're a beautiful human and I like you. So, like just stay with us a little longer. Like life can get better. And the next one is, do you have a hard time lifting your wheelchair? Again, I think this one's appropriate because people are just looking for kind of like, do I struggle with it or am I like good to do it on my own? And kind of just seeing if I need help or not. So the next one is, if you had faith in Jesus, you wouldn't lose your leg. So I really have had this said to me, and it was kind of awful and annoying when they said this to me because I was like, excuse you? Like, you're basically saying, like, I don't have faith and my faith is not strong enough? Like, number one, who are you to question it? But, like, number two, just don't be that rude, please. So the next one is, you're too young to be disabled. Okay, so I've heard, like, variations of this one, like, probably several times, and I always think it's rude because I'm like, yeah, well, for one, like, disability doesn't care how old you are, and also, like, disability doesn't care if you're young, because there's plenty of young people that end up dealing with really hard disabilities, so just, like, don't invalidate people that way. This one is, you are still so beautiful. Okay, this is another one that I don't really like because it's just basically saying, like, that I would be more beautiful if I wasn't disabled, so that's why it kind of bugs me. And then the one after that, I accidentally clicked it, but it's, do you know my friend's cousin that's an amputee? So basically just like assuming that all amputees would know each other, and that's not how it actually works in real life. You've been through a lot I might not understand, but thanks for sharing it with me. So this one I put in appropriate because it just shows that, like, if I share my story with you and I share, like, some of the hard details of, like, what I've been through, and you're understanding and you're, like, validating my experience, that's definitely, like, really good. It shows that you want to be a true friend. The next one is, why can't you just hop up the steps? You still have a leg. Ay, ay, ay. So this one was actually something that somebody in an HOA told me. So we were thinking of buying a house in this HOA that was like for like older people basically, but I would be able to live there because I was the kid of my parents. But anyways, they were saying this to me because they wanted to get around the fact that I would need a wheelchair ramp, at least like temporarily at the steps of the residence. And yeah, they didn't like that. So it definitely belongs in my ears are burning. Don't ever say that because yeah, when you try to like get around the fact that like I have the right to have access to my house, that's just okay. So this one is, you must have a special man to love you in spite of all that. So this one bugs me because it also just implies that like disabled people can't find decent people to date, which I have actually had this told to me like a couple times, and yeah, I don't really want someone to like want to be with me because they're pitying me. I would want them to want to be with me like for who I am and for like the strength that I have because of what I've been through. So this one is, with you, I can't complain about my problems. Yours are worse. So yeah, this one doesn't make me feel all that great when people are like, "Oh yeah, your problems are like way worse than mine," because it's like, no, like tell me your problems. Like I want to be able to help you, but also like I want to be your friend, and like I can't do that if you like don't tell me what you're having trouble with. So yeah, just like communication, I guess. And this one is, wow, I really love your attitude of helping others and working hard. So, in other words, like, this is kind of a good way to say, like, that I'm inspirational, but you're saying that I'm inspirational for more than just like my everyday things. So this one is, my friend Amanda is a wheelchair user, and would that cafe have a ramp? So this is basically just someone like asking and looking out for me that the activity I'm going to do with my friends or like as a group would be suitable for me, and that's definitely like very appreciated by someone that uses a wheelchair a lot.